Hello and welcome to another episode of Match Point Monday, where we bring you all the news, facts, and information from this past weekend's games. This week, we're going to stick with the NBA and the NBA play-in tournament. A lot happened this past weekend, and now we're able to understand the matchups that are going to be. Last week, we talked a little bit about what those matchups could potentially be, and now that we know what those matchups are actually going to be. So, with that being said, the play-in tournament will actually start tomorrow, which is Tuesday, May 18th, and we have in the East, we have in the 9th and 10th seed, Hornets versus Pacers. We got LaMelo Ball, and then Wizards Celtics. We have the 7th and 8th seed. In the West, we have Spurs versus Grizzlies in that 9th and 10th matchup. And like we talked about last week, we do get Steph Curry versus LeBron James in that 7th and 8th seed matchup. Now, how it works, we talked a little bit about this last week also, but how it works is if you win that 7th and 8th matchup, then you are the 7th seed. Loser gets another chance, and they will play the winner of that 9th and 10th seed matchup. So, the loser of LeBron versus Steph, they're still going to get another chance to be that 8th seed. And at this point, if the Lakers win, they would end up playing. Let's take a look at the standings real quick. If they were the 7th seed, hold on a second, they would play the Phoenix Suns. A tough matchup. You would have Chris Paul versus LeBron James. A very, very interesting and intriguing matchup right now. And I think it's very exciting what we have entering this playoff season. If you take a look at the teams that are contending for a championship this year versus last season, it's completely different, right? Of course, you have a lot of the same characters that were in the playoffs last season, like the Sixers. The Suns were very close to being in the play-in tournament because they went 8-0 and we had playoff Booker going off and everything, but they didn't make the playoffs. But we have just go to the East real quick. The Sixers, they made the playoffs last year, but they got swept by Boston. The Knicks, they're making the playoffs for the first time since 2012-2013 season. The Hawks, they're making the playoffs for the first time since 2012. Of course, you have the Miami Heat. They went to the finals. What's crazy about the Heat, though, is that they are currently they're 6th, so they'll play the Bucks, which we know that they beat the Bucks last year in 5 games. So, they fall all the way down to 6, but it's still a dangerous team. So now, if we go over to the West side, we have Utah. They've been a perennial playoff team, but they're the 1 seed, which is pretty crazy. Got the Phoenix Suns in there. As we talked about, playoff Booker, Nuggets have been there, Clippers have been there, Mavericks until recently, until last year, hadn't made the playoffs in a while, so that's good to see. And then of course you got Dame Lillard in the 6th seed, but everything is looking very interesting. You got the Grizzlies in the mix as well, but I wanted to go ahead and talk a little bit about who are some of the favorites, and I think it's interesting this year that normally you would go, okay, it's the top 1 or 2 seeds from each conference, right? Warriors, Cavs, Celtics, Rockets back in the day, but not usually how it is this year, because a lot of the teams towards the top haven't really done anything. I get the clear favorite has to be the Nets. They got KD back, they have James Harden, and they have Kyrie. They're clearly the favorites. You have the Sixers. They're actually the 1 seed in the East. Joel Embiid, Doc Rivers has been life-changing for them. So I have them also as a favorite. I threw in the Bucks because if Giannis can get through, obviously they're a dangerous team. The Lakers, even as a 7th seed, they can make it. And then I put in the Jazz, also a 1 seed in the West. I think if they all is clicking, they can get it done. But ultimately, I don't have the Lakers going to the NBA Finals. I think they beat the Warriors, but somewhere along the way they lose, maybe to a Clippers or however it plays out. But ultimately, I'm going to go Nets take the East, and I'm going to go Suns in a dark horse. I love Chris Paul. I think he's going to have a great run with Devin Booker. I'm going to have Nets versus Suns, and unfortunately, it's not going to be that exciting in the NBA Finals. I'm going to have Nets win in 5. And I think that's how it goes. But guys, I'm so excited for the NBA play-in tournament. It's going to be so exciting to watch all these these games starting tomorrow. And then we have Wednesday, we have the Western Conference game. So, guys, tune into all of that. And, guys, that wraps up another episode of Match Point Monday. Be sure to check out this week's episode and be sure to subscribe to the Nick Rodriguez podcast and follow us on all social media accounts. Have a great day, and let us know what we should talk about next. Thanks.